I'm Manis Granny. Wherever you're watching, this is the first edition of Bloomberg Markets Middle East, the news show that brings you the latest headlines and all you need to know across the region to begin the working week. We didn't go out and buy deposits. If we gave a little sniff of an interest rate hike, we could bring a sweep of money into the bank. Your Excellency, Anas Al-Salah, Deputy Prime Minister of Kuwait, welcome to Bloomberg.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great to have you this morning. We're in Oslo. It's the world's largest sovereign wealth fund, $890 billion under management, and it's the first loss in 3 years.
Meet the man regarded as one of Britain's preeminent fashion designers, Sir Paul Smith.
I mean, I don't let them hear, but I started with, I've worked with the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and all those people.
Anna, some rather interesting points from your exclusive discussion with the Kuwait Oil and Finance Minister.
Indeed, Rashad. This is a man that has three weighty ministries on his shoulder. Deputy Prime Minister, the Oil Minister for Kuwait, and of course the Finance Minister, His Excellency Anas Al-Salah. When it comes to $50 oil, the market will rebalance. He's optimistic. From Doha to OPEC, the journey. Will they get a freeze? He talks about Iran. Also the economy of Kuwait. This is a nation dependent on oil. It's facing fiscal deficits, but he will balance the books, and he'll do it in 5 years. Let's talk about Cameron's campaign. If you had to mark it out of 10 right now, 1 to 10, where does he stand on that scale in terms of effectiveness?
It's early days yet. The campaign's only just kicked off. I think he's had a good start. To be fair to him, that the concessions he negotiated from Europe, protection of sterling, protection against the further bailouts of the euro countries, certain limits on migration, is a very positive start. He's a good campaigner, but he has a good story to tell. I think the difficulty on the Leave side is that they have no effective leader and they have no story to tell.
I mean, you've been quite vocal in terms of how you perceive the Leave campaign, but Cameron's got to move a 20% undecided group. What does he need to do to shift that dial?
Fundamentally, I think he needs to keep doing what he's doing. If he has a good campaign, there's a reason he's had a solid start.
Are you doing more hedging in this interim period of risk? Is that something that you will consider to do on your sterling exposure?
Actually, no at the moment, because, we think it's a reasonably short-term risk.
What I see here is a selection of countries that are very un-European, that are very undemocratic, that have taken with one hand and are simply not prepared to help with the Syrian refugee crisis. Why not penalise them, Michael? Why not make it difficult to be part of Europe if you don't play by the rules?
Well, I think everybody has to play by the rules.
Talk to me about the region. I know you like to differentiate. So I've been having a look. Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Qatar, and the Jeddah Wall, all back in bull territory. But then on the other side, I've got Yemen, Egypt, Libya, Syria, and Iraq, virtually politically failed. So glass half full, glass half empty. Talk me through where you want to be in that position. Where's the biggest opportunity?
The biggest opportunities, obviously, is here.
No conversation at Bloomberg or the region could start with anything else apart from oil. They are pumping like it's 1989. The Fed may be cautious. The Bank of Japan may be doing very little. The dollar is dropping, and this tells your story. Everybody that I interview, it's called the Bloomberg chair. Nobody escapes, not even His Excellency. I need your prediction for oil for this year. So we're almost at $50. Can we break above that? And if so, sir, how high?
I believe the level around $50 a barrel is a expected price for 2016.
If we get a freeze, can we make 70?
We'll talk about it when we meet after the freeze.
Well done, well done. What I need to talk to you about now is, and I remember the sovereign wealth funds were where I broke my very initial years. You had the 7th largest wealth fund in the world, KIA. $500 billion, $500 billion. It's for a rainy day. What the world wants to know, are you adding money to KIA, or have you withdrawn money from KIA for some of the tough times that you've had?
We're doing both.
But I need to know the...
Really, we're doing the both, and seriously.
We're spinning forward into June at that OPEC meeting. Expectations for anything to happen there. I listened to that. I don't really see anything.
Strangely enough, John, I think there was a whole sort of conversation leading up to the sit-down afterwards. My complete takeaway is this, that the foundation for a deal in June is there. This man is not returning unless everybody's on board, i.e. the Iranians get on board, but they want to continue producing. By the way, Kuwait, they want to go from 3 to 4 million barrels, Johnny, over the next couple of years. Some of the big themes that have dominated the Doha debacle were, of course, the oil story fell apart at the start of the week, Dilma Rousseff on the road to impeachment, and Mario Draghi's message to the market, all about patience, something I was told as a child. Do women have bigger and stronger role models now?
Absolutely. I mean, it was interesting about Sheryl Sandberg because she sort of is helping women come along.
Social media is going to run this election like we've never seen it before. You're one of the world's most famous photographers. My question to you is this. On social media, for her campaign, and you spend a bit of time with her, should it be the bouffon perfect Hillary for social media, or should it be the real woman that's slightly behind the bouffon?
I think she's being very smart. I think you're seeing the real person.
Stay there, you boys.
Do I fit in any of these? No.
No, of course not. Well, I don't know, you could try. Look, this is a summer version. So that's. Why don't you try this one? See if. See.
Well, listen, we're probably.
You've got your microphone.
Yeah, but you know what we can do, Dash?
Yeah.
You never. If I breathe in.
There you go. Summer suit, light as a feather. So not bad, eh?
Just a few more miles on the a few more miles.
It's made for all those skinny models, you see.
So this is the classic. This is the classic. So I picked this up in the shops.
This will be this is for next spring,
right?
And this is like the most edgy, whatever the words are these days. You know, the most fashionable ones. Whereas this is the most classic one there.
Take me to the classic. My days of edgy. Are almost.
Let's go over here.
Okay. There is this great debate between opening more shops, big luxury brands like yourself, opening more shops, and focusing more on the online retail. Where are you in that debate?
Well, the online is, we have our biggest shop in the world is online.
You've seen every incarnation in fashion. You've designed it, you're the vanguard, but we have Instagram, we've Twitter, we've got Facebook. The medium of choice, what do you actually enjoy the most? Having a look at your Twitter account, it's fantastic. But what is it that draws you? Is it Instagram, over Twitter, or over Facebook? What drives you?
It's all of the above, but Instagram for me is inspiring because I'm a very visual person. I like seeing photographs, and I like seeing a lot of change. I'm always looking at what next.
If I was to say to you, take me to the future paradigm, take me to retail in the future, that debate between being able to touch and feel and to purchase online, for you, what is that experience?
You need all of the above. It's called omni-channel. So we have to be either ahead of the times or we have to be right on point.
Being right on point is about taking from the runway, which you are about to do, runway to my iPhone or my Samsung, and indeed into my closet. And that's a revolution.
Well, it's click and buy. And it is being driven by the consumer.
400 brands, thousands of boats. But what is it that makes a bespoke Sunseeker 131 yacht so special? £16 million.
Overall, the number of ultra-high net worth individuals, so 90% of our order book will come from ultra-high net worth individuals. We expect that to grow by about 20% between now and 2020, so we're in a good position there. We've also found a real niche and credibility in bridging the 50 feet up to 150 feet, moving into the super yacht category.
Your cost base, it's about 86% of sales according to our Bloomberg intelligence team, and they're sort of saying to me, look, this is high relative to your peers. Is there room for more cost cuts? Where should we perceive the efficiencies to come in 2016 from Heineken?
For over 10 years, we have been embarked in very strict productivity enhancing programs.
I think this is a great picture. It's on the front of City AM. Mario, the Grinch ruins the Santa rally. I mean, he did demolish the stock rally, 3% lower. The euro rallied by 3%. Had we all just presumed too much?
I think so. I think that's well put.
The biggest story in the world and the biggest scandal in the world right now is at the heart of Volkswagen. They're due to communicate with the world on Wednesday. They've appointed a new management team. What advice would you be giving them right now in terms of really beginning to handle this crisis?
Well, from my own experience in helping TEPCO in Japan with the Fukushima crisis, and what I've learned over the years, besides at TEPCO, is the most important thing is to apologize.
What some people refer to this week, a Glencore moment, that blow-up in the equity market, and it really had global impact in terms of our view of commodities. Have we had a Lehman-esque moment in terms of our perception of what's going on in the commodity market?
I don't think so. For having lived, this Lehman crisis, the systemic aspect was there.
Banks like yours have built big businesses on commodity business. Are you concerned from a European banking perspective that the commodity route will begin to have a kind of impact in terms of the numbers for the banks around Europe going into 2016?
Don't think so either. I mean, two things. First of all, as bankers, we have to think 10 years ahead.
We've come to Zurich to have a very special conversation with Brady Dugan, the CEO of Credit Suisse. Join me for an exclusive conversation on wealth management, investment banking, and the future as he departs that institution. I want to get an idea, is there a sense of relief that you're finally at the moment of where you're ready to sort of begin the next part of your journey?
It's been a very long time at the institution, so I have a tremendous number of connections to the people here and to the businesses, and there's been obviously a lot of great times, a lot of satisfaction for the businesses that have been built.
I looked at some of the characters that you worked with and for, and I'm just wondering, who inspired you the most? Who did you learn the most from? Was it Alan Wheat? Was it, John Mac the Knife, as some people know him? Who out of that sort of vanguard of people that you worked for and with, do you think you learned perhaps the most from, or you respected the most?
Well, I think, as you say, learn from all of them. I mean, I think and everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. I mean, I think one of my objectives was always to try to learn from everybody that I dealt with, but certainly everybody who I worked for.
2016, people are concerned about banks generally and their exposure to commodities, to the energy sector, to those areas that have been under such tremendous pressure. Can you give me some context of RBS in terms of its exposures and from a CEO perspective in terms of, you see what happened to Glencore back in the third quarter, and that shook the market, didn't it?
It's not just so that the large organisations such as the Glencores or the Anglos or the BHPs or the Rios, it's all the downstream impact that you have to look at as well.
14% of your assets are tied up in the African business, 9.4% of your risk-weighted assets. Where are you going to relocate the capital? Where are you going to make that capital work better for the battered shareholders of Barclays?
We're going to simplify the bank to be a transatlantic bank focused on consumer business, our corporate business, and our investment bank. We've got a number of franchises within that transatlantic bank that are generating double-digit returns today. There are lots of places to deploy our capital, and we'll be doing so in a way to enhance our shareholders' value.
Let's just talk about, you used the word double-digit there on a number of occasions, obviously personal and corporate, Barclaycard, all hitting that metric. The investment bank isn't. When is the possibility of a double-digit return at that investment bank? Give us a timeline. The market wants to know essentially what you're going to do with that. We'll get into the details, but when will the investment bank make a double-digit return, Mr. Staley?
I think the most important issue is that our core franchise today, which includes our consumer business, our corporate business, and our investment banking business, that core franchise generates a return on tangible equity in double digits today.
The Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund lost $8.8 billion in this quarter. That is the first time in 3 years. The culprits, well, that was equities and fixed income. And it was US equities that really took the shine off the numbers. I caught up with the CEO, Ingvar Schlingster, and I asked him, what are the challenges and the issues that trouble you the most?
I think it's no doubt that there's two issues that's really up there, and that's monetary policy and it's China.
No change at the top in terms of holdings. Nestle, Apple and Novartis. Bang, bang, bang. 1, 2, 3. Yes, they've trimmed their positions, but those are the three biggest holdings of this sovereign wealth fund. One clear message from this conversation. Volatility has moved from the equity markets to the foreign exchange markets. Whether that continues is still a moot point in debate. China tops the agenda for this man. When it comes to the next move by the Fed and interest rates, I really liked what he said, which was that central bankers are more patient than markets. There's one to ponder on. I'm Manus Cranny in Oslo for Bloomberg.